Hello and welcome to our Tuesday mini class for the Fall into Sales mini series. Now, I forgot to change the cover here, but that's okay. That is okay. I am going to switch over to our question of the day. And if you're coming in live or if you are watching on the replay, I want you to chime in. Is it too early for holiday decorations? Now, if you look behind me, I actually did put up some of my decorations behind me. The tree, my office tree is not up, and that usually doesn't go up until closer to around Thanksgiving. Um, but the I start. I usually don't start this early, but we were supposed to be in Turks and Caicos last weekend, but with the hurricane, they canceled our Points to Paradise booking because they had to have rooms available to move people from Jamaica. And so which is fine. So instead of being in Turks and Caicos, I just got an early start on decorating because I was like, well, I guess that's what we're doing. But I will tell you, my son, my husband, he doesn't care at this point anymore. As long as we don't put the tree up yet, that's his big thing. Um, but my son is I'm trying to share this into the group. My son is so funny. I he's like, "Why, mom? Why?" I said, "When you are older and you have a house, you can do whatever you want." Although I was like, "But you'll probably have a wife and you'll have to do whatever she wants." So, um, uh, but anywho, I don't think it's early. I don't think it's too early, obviously, but I don't have it all up and ready right now. So I would love to know your thoughts just because I'm just always curious to see what people think about, I started, but it's not done. We won't do the tree until Thanksgiving. Our outside is still fall. And like I have things like my Christmas village and other things that I haven't put up yet. And so it's a process. It's a process. So I would love to know what yours is. Mine is a weeks long process because I really only do it on the weekend because I'm busy during the week. But it's just I love Christmas and I have a lot of decor and I like to make sure that I can share it with, so I can enjoy it because by the time I get it all up, it's a lot. So tell me your opinion in the comments. But let's get started into um today's class, which is the power of saying no. It's okay to say no when it comes to your um to leads. And it comes down to the fact that your time is your money. Our biggest thing we have, okay? We can never get our time back. So time is something that is very, very valuable. And so a lot of times when you have a lead that's going to drain you of more time than you're going to get back in commission or fees, you might have to stop and think for a second. So, and here's the thing, here's something else you have to think of because when you are new, you want any single lead that you can get because you want a chance to prove yourself. And that's different. Okay. Like I remember when I was a brand new agent, okay, I had literally just signed the contract and one of my friends was posting about Jamaica and about a what's it called? Groupon deal, maybe. I don't know if you remember Groupon. I guess it's still around, but there was a Groupon deal, and I actually turned that into my very first booking. From talking her off the ledge of the Groupon deal, and then explaining, well, here, this is what you want to look for. Da 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 da. That was valuable experience for me, even though I wasn't technically a Jamaica expert yet it was okay. So you have to balance um taking on something that might not be what you know like the back of your hand, but you want to get that experience, okay? But then as you go on, Okay. Your first year is a lot of that. First year is seeing what people request from you, doing your best with that. But then as you are growing in your business, okay, you have to think then strategically, where are my bookings coming from? Where are my best commissions coming from? And then you need to start drawing the line, because every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to anything else you might accomplish with that time. So you have to look at your time as a finite resource. Okay. So if a request is going to take you 4 hours to do the research and all that, and if something is going to take you 4 hours to research, I hope you are doing a plan to go fee. Okay. Because that is a lot of time. And if you don't know what that means if you're doing something very complicated, like an FIT booking or something like that, before you start that work, you actually have have the clients pay a planning fee ahead of time because it's so complicated. Okay. So that way, even if they don't book with you, you're at least compensated for that time, because remember, time is something we don't get back. Now, sometimes we get a request though that is like, I can't do this. For example, for me, I have never been to Asia. I don't know anything about Asia. Okay. I am going to pass that along to someone else because I want them to have a good experience. I don't have that experience, and I don't have the time in my day to learn it. See, now, if you're a new agent and you want to learn it, like if this is what people are requesting from you, you take the time, you dive in and learn it. However, once stupid spam calls, I don't know if you could hear that, but once someone is requesting something of you, spam call, the spam call took me off of my train of thought. Okay. So when you are a newer agent, sometimes you will take that extra time to learn because you're putting in, you're learning on the job. You have to consider yourself an apprentice for like the first 2 years because of just, you know, you have to learn what you can do, what you can't do, which suppliers you like to work with, those kinds of things. Okay. But then as you grow, so I'm going to say year 2 or 3. Okay. If you get a request that is outside of it's going to take you more time and hassle than is worth it, you can say no. And it actually will benefit your business to say no. Okay. Now it's hard because you don't want people to think you're rude. You don't want to disappoint them and you value the relationship. But here is the thing. This is me in Hawaii. Okay. Again, I've been an agent for over 12 years. I am capable of booking a Hawaii trip. I've been to Hawaii. I know the suppliers. I am capable of it. However, I am not the best at it. And I pass it on to a colleague of mine who is a Hawaii certified agent. And she does all that. Now she charges a plan to go fee. But I want my clients to have the best experience. And by referring them to somebody else who is, that, helps your colleague, but it also helps the client because now they're going to have a trip that is far better planned. Far better planned than if I had done it. And see, it takes my colleague less time because she knows these things inside and out. So somebody who isn't so I specialize in Disney, Universal. I know those things like the back of my hand. I can plan that like the back of my hand. It doesn't take me any extra energy or brain power because it's all ingrained in here. However, if you are somebody who doesn't do that kind of those bookings regularly, it's going to be a lot more work for you. Okay. Not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying it takes you more work. It takes more time. Now, I talked about this a little bit before. If you don't have any clients and you need to build a client base, you have to experiment and see what works for you. That's why I said year 3 is kind of where you start to say, okay, this is what I'm doing. Okay, I'm on year 12. All right. So if you're in year 1 or 2, you're going to still experiment. Okay. You are seeing what works for your business. And like I would always say, you're not really going to earn enough of an income until year 2.5, 3, So you have to see what works for you in those first 2 years. But again, if it's something so outside your scope, it's okay to say no to that too, because again, you're not going to be the master of everything. And what builds your business is specialization. Okay. So what happens is when you say more, you wind up saying yes more. Okay. So you use your yes in a focused way and learn with each experience. You don't want to just book something for the sake of booking something. You need to make money. This is not a charity. Okay. You don't want to set a precedent, and you want to be sure that you are getting compensated well. Okay. This is a business, not a charity. Then after something magical happens after year 2, you know your specialty, you know your ideal audience. You want to say yes to what builds your business, because what happens is when you get really good at booking something and selling it and marketing it, it all just snowballs. It's the snowball effect. Okay. You want to say yes to what builds your business. Again, it might take you a couple years to realize what that is. Okay. But you want to make sure that you are then focusing in on what makes you the most money, focusing that marketing in on what makes you the most money. Because then what happens is you are becoming successful and doing things more easily. You're utilizing automations, you're utilizing systems, okay, that make your life easier. Okay. If you're always doing something different or something new, then it becomes more cumbersome. And now let me give you a pause here. There are agents who are very good at doing FITs, and those are customizable trips. That's your specialty. Okay. If you're awesome at putting together the trips, then that is your specialty. You know the right suppliers, you know the right DMCs, you know how to put this stuff together. Okay. That can be your specialty. But I see a lot of agents not specializing their marketing strategy, their messaging. They're too broad, they're too general. And what happens is it's not helping you with that snowball. Okay. Because our ultimate goal here is to have more time. Okay. Yes, we want bookings, but you want the bookings that work for you, of people who will refer you out. Then that grows your business. Okay. And you cannot, you have to find where your niche is. Is your niche in that FIT market? Is it in ocean cruises? Is it in river cruises? Is it in, I'm trying to think of some other agents that have niches. Is it in wellness travel? Where is your niche? Okay. Now, here's the thing. For me, an FIT to Brazil would not work, because it would take me, because I am not an expert in FIT. So it would take me more time to research, quote, and all of that, taking away what brings the majority of my business. Now, again, if you're an agent who specializes in FIT travel, it's a different story. Okay. You have to, this is where specializing really helps you. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you this chart. This is my own personal chart. Okay. And my first 2 years as an agent, I booked anything. I wanted to get the experience. Okay. So year 1, I mean, it wasn't even worth putting on the chart, because it wasn't, it might have been 25, I don't know, but number of bookings. Okay. So year 2, I had 60 bookings, which is great. All right. And what happened then in year 3, and this is the magical doubling. Okay. Between year 2 and year 3, you tend to double your bookings. And then for me, I mean, these are my own personal numbers. Okay. The average might actually be much different. And this is also from 10 years ago. So, a lot of things are different, but I'm just showing you from my personal experience what happened. So year 2, years 1 and 2, I kind of did whatever was asked of me. And, while promoting what my specialty was, my marketing was always in my specialty. Yeah, not really. It was a little general too. I'm going to say I was more of a generalist in my marketing back then. But then in year 2, I realized I was getting the most bookings from Disney Cruises, Sandals, the all-inclusives. So then year 2 to year 3, I really zeroed in on what I was getting good at. Okay. And then my bookings doubled. Now, notice they didn't keep doubling. Okay. And that happens for some people. Now, for me, it didn't. It stayed pretty steady, a little growth each year. Okay. But this is where you want to look. You want to look between years 2 and 3. This is where the growth happens. And this is where you should be starting to say no to people. Okay. Now, let me tell you, if it was something easy that I could just book and get the credit for, like say a friend wanted to do a Norwegian cruise or something like that, I would book it because it was pretty, like they knew what they wanted but they just wanted me to get some credit for it. That's fine. But I'm not marketing Norwegian cruises because I wasn't booking them. Okay. So you have to market what you're booking and then zero in on that specialty. Start saying no more and say yes to the things that come in that grow your business. Again, years 1 and 2, you're going to say yes more than no because of the fact that you're trying to still build and figure out what you're doing. But once you have your specialty and once you know what you're good at selling, you need to zero in on that and sometimes say no. Okay. I still say no, but you don't say no. What you do is you say, let me refer to you to somebody who knows better. Okay. Another example of someone of bookings I've referred out only because my personal experience is out of date. Okay. Italy. Okay. I had somebody for gluten-free Italy. I have celiac, so gluten-free travel is one of my specialties. I have not been to Italy since I was diagnosed as celiac, but I know another agent who has, and she does trips and all that. So I gave this client this other agent's name because I know that she is going to be in good hands. Okay. And knowing that I still keep my relationship up with my client for when she goes to everywhere else that she books, she still comes back to me. But for that one trip, she went to who I referred her to because she trusts my judgment and she trusts me when I say, go to this person, they will take care of you. Okay. So that's another way. Even though you might think, oh, I'm saying no, I'm sending them away. No, you're actually looking out for them. I was looking out for her because I wanted her to give her to somebody that had more relevant experience than me. Okay. My disposable income right now goes to travel baseball. Okay. And going to baseball stadiums. Maybe in 10 years, I'll have the funds and the time to go and do these other experiences. At this very moment, I do not. Okay. Between the time and also the money, you have to know what you know. So that's why I'm sticking to what I know. Now, could I have figured it out? Yes, I could have. And that's up to you if you want to take things like that on. Me, I prefer to just book what I know. And when I started doing that, I am not even kidding you. Between year 2 and 3, my bookings doubled because something happens when you do that. Because what happens is your messaging becomes clearer, it becomes easier for people to understand, and you're able to get more bookings, repeat bookings, people referring you because you're the expert in that area. Okay. All right. So this is it for today. On Thursday at 1:00 Eastern, I will be doing our last Fall into Sales mini class, which is going to be all about when you get ghosted and what happens when, how you can actually increase your sales based on being ghosted or when people don't reply to your quote. And then next week, we're going to have Q&A sessions. Okay, so you can ask me questions. There's going to be one on Monday and there's going to be one on Thursday. Okay, I'll get the times out to you. All right, because I want to make sure that because I've been sharing these sales strategies with you this month or the past few weeks, and I want to give you a chance to take it in. And then if you have questions for me, I'd love to answer them. All right. So have a wonderful Tuesday, and I will see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.